September 18, 1944, near Arracourt, eastern France. Captain James Leach, 37, from Dallas, Texas, scanned the fog-shrouded valley through his Sherman's periscope at 05:21 hours. His tank idled behind a stone barn. Metal groaned. The engine's rumble masked approaching sounds. Leach wiped condensation from the glass. 3 days earlier, General Patton's Third Army had pushed through Nancy. Now German armor was counterattacking. Could they hold against the vaunted Panthers? What Leach didn't know, within 240 hours, his battalion would help destroy an entire Panzer army. The kill ratio would rewrite armored warfare doctrine. 5th Panzer Army had massed 262 tanks for Operation Lüttich Part 2. General von Manteuffel commanded the assault. His 113th Panzer Brigade rolled forward with 88 Panther tanks. Each Panther mounted a 75mm gun that could penetrate Sherman armor at 2,000 yards. American Shermans needed to close within 600 yards for effective shots. The mathematics seemed impossible. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams led 4th Armored Division's 37th Tank Battalion. His force held defensive positions south of Arracourt. 80 Shermans against over 200 German tanks. Weather favored the Germans. Fog reduced visibility to 200 yards. American air superiority meant nothing when planes couldn't fly. Leach heard engines, not American diesel. German Maybach power plants. He keyed his radio. Contact, southwest, multiple vehicles. Through the mist emerged 3 Panthers. Their angular hulls looked predatory. Sloped armor deflected most American shells. The lead Panther's turret traversed left. Its gun barrel swung toward Leach's position. Sergeant Bill Davidson, 29, from Cleveland, loaded a 76mm armor-piercing round. The Sherman's upgraded gun gave them a chance. Standard 75mm Shermans were death traps against Panthers. Davidson had seen 2 burn yesterday. Crews didn't escape. Target left, Panther. Range 400. Leach's gunner, Corporal Tom Mitchell, 24, from Portland, acquired the target. The Panther stopped. German commanders preferred static firing positions. Their accuracy was legendary. Mitchell aimed for the turret ring. The junction where turret met hull was vulnerable. Fire! The 76mm gun cracked. Recoil rocked the Sherman. The shell struck low. It ricocheted off the Panther's glacis plate with a bright spark. No penetration. The Panther's gun elevated. Leach saw the muzzle flash. He dropped through the turret hatch. The German shell screamed past. It struck the barn wall. Stone fragments peppered the Sherman's side. Mitchell reloaded faster. American crews trained for speed. German crews trained for precision. In fog, speed mattered more. Mitchell fired again. This round caught the Panther's right track. Metal links shattered. The Panther slewed sideways. 2 more Shermans emerged from concealment. Lieutenant Robert Cooksey, 31, from Atlanta, commanded the 2nd tank. His crew had trained together for 18 months. They moved as one organism. Cooksey's Sherman circled right. His gunner targeted the immobilized Panther's side armor. The numbers seemed impossible. American forces faced 262 German tanks with forces 1/3 that size. But terrain and tactics would reverse the odds. The 2nd Panther fired at Cooksey. Its shell punched through the Sherman's frontal armor. The impact killed the driver instantly. Fire erupted inside the turret. Cooksey kicked open his hatch. Flames seared his hands. He pulled his gunner through. Both men rolled off the burning hull. Leach maneuvered his Sherman into a hull-down position. Only his turret showed above the ridge. The immobilized Panther rotated its turret toward him. Mitchell fired first. His 3rd shot penetrated the Panther's thin side armor. Orange flame bloomed from the engine deck. German crew members bailed out. The 3rd Panther retreated into fog. Its commander had seen enough. 1 Panther dead. 1 Sherman burning. The engagement lasted 4 minutes. Staff Sergeant George Dager, 33, from Philadelphia, arrived with 3 more Shermans. Dager commanded Company B, his tanks deployed in a reverse-slope defense. German doctrine emphasized frontal assaults. American doctrine emphasized maneuver. Abrams had positioned his battalion to exploit this difference. "How many?" Dager asked over the radio. 3 confirmed, probably more coming. Intelligence had reported 113th Panzer Brigade moving south. That meant 88 Panthers plus supporting vehicles. Abrams' battalion couldn't match that firepower. They didn't need to. They needed to fragment the German formation. The fog began lifting at 6:47 hours. Visibility extended to 800 yards. Leach spotted movement across the valley. 12 Panthers advancing in line formation. Classic German tactics. Overwhelming firepower on a narrow front. American tank destroyers waited in concealment. The M18 Hellcat mounted a 76mm gun on a light chassis. Maximum speed, 55 miles per hour. The Hellcats could shoot and relocate before German gunners acquired them. What seemed like German tactical advantage would become their fatal vulnerability. The Panzer formations couldn't adapt to fluid combat. Captain John Roller, 28, from Boston, commanded the attached tank destroyer platoon. His 4 Hellcats occupied positions 400 yards behind the Sherman line. German doctrine called for breakthrough and exploitation. American doctrine called for defense in depth. When Panthers broke through the Sherman line, they'd enter the destroyer kill zone. The German formation accelerated. Panthers could reach 28 miles per hour on roads. Across rough terrain, they managed 15. The lead Panther crossed a small stream. Its commander stood exposed in the cupola. German officers led from the front. It made them visible targets. Mitchell tracked the commander. Personnel, range 650. Take it. The 76mm round struck the German officer's chest. He disappeared inside the turret. The Panther stopped. Its crew had lost coordination. 3 seconds of confusion. Leach's crew fired again. This shot penetrated the thinner turret front. The Panther's ammunition exploded. The turret separated from the hull. It landed 30 feet away. 11 Panthers continued forward. They fired on the move. Accuracy suffered, but volume compensated. Sherman positions erupted in explosions. Sergeant Bill Hayes, 26, from Detroit, died when a Panther shell struck his tank's ammunition storage. The Sherman disintegrated. No survivors. But the German advance had committed. Panthers rolled past the first defensive line. Roller's Hellcats opened fire from concealed positions. The M18's gun matched the Sherman's 76mm. Its light armor made it vulnerable. Its speed made it deadly. Roller's gunner hit a Panther's engine compartment at 500 yards. German fuel tanks ignited. The Panther became a furnace. Crew members emerged screaming. Their uniforms burned. Medics couldn't reach them through the crossfire. Could the American position hold against such overwhelming force? The answer emerged through smoke and fire. A second Hellcat destroyed another Panther. The German formation split. Half turned to engage the destroyers. Half continued toward Arracourt. Fragmentation was death for armor. Isolated tanks became targets. Dager's Shermans hit the northern group from the flank. His gunners had clear side shots. Panther's side armor measured 40mm thick. Sherman's 76mm guns could penetrate that at 800 yards. 3 Panthers burned in 90 seconds. The southern group pushed toward the village. Lieutenant Colonel Abrams repositioned his command tank. He saw the tactical picture clearly. Germans were executing a textbook assault. Americans were fighting a guerrilla action with 33-ton vehicles. All units, maneuver at will, engage, and relocate. German radio discipline broke down. Panther commanders shouted contradictory orders. Some called for concentration. Others demanded flanking movements. Confusion spread through the formation. Private First Class Eddie Grant, 22, from Nashville, watched from a foxhole. He'd never seen tanks fight this way. Panthers dominated individual engagements, but Shermans dictated the battle's flow. The Germans kept reacting. Americans kept choosing where to fight. Another Panther exploded, then another. The assault lost momentum. German survivors withdrew at 08:23 hours. They left 9 burning Panthers. American losses, 4 Shermans, 1 Hellcat. The mathematics had inverted. 9 German tanks destroyed for 5 American. In previous engagements, Panthers achieved 3-to-1 kill ratios. Here, the ratio reversed. Terrain and tactics trumped technology. Leach climbed from his Sherman. His hands shook. Adrenaline aftermath. He'd been in combat for 16 months. This felt different. The Germans had brought their best equipment. It hadn't mattered. Abrams studied the burning wrecks through binoculars. They'll come again. Bigger force next time. He was right. Von Manteuffel had committed only 1 company. The entire 113th Panzer Brigade waited in reserve. 88 Panthers against 80 Shermans. The real battle approached. Maintenance crews worked through the morning. Sherman reliability exceeded Panther reliability. German tanks required extensive servicing. American tanks ran on minimal maintenance. This operational tempo favored 4th Armored. By 1400 hours, Abrams had repositioned his battalion. He created multiple defensive zones. Shermans in front, tank destroyers in depth, artillery pre-registered on likely approach routes. The Germans would face interlocking fires wherever they attacked. Weather cleared completely. American P-47 Thunderbolts appeared overhead. The pilots couldn't engage yet, no targets. But their presence changed German calculations. Panther crews knew what 500-pound bombs did to armor. Reconnaissance reported German movement at 15:35 hours. Von Manteuffel was massing 50 Panthers for the next assault. He'd learned from the morning engagement. This time he would concentrate overwhelming force on a single objective. The objective was Arracourt itself. The village controlled the road junction. Whoever held it controlled Third Army's supply line. Von Manteuffel planned to smash through American defenses with pure weight. 50 Panthers in 2 waves. They believed concentration would overcome American mobility. They were catastrophically wrong. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams, 29, from Springfield, Massachusetts, had built his career on aggressive action. He'd commanded armor since North Africa. Patton called him the best tank battalion commander in Europe. Abrams proved it through innovation rather than orthodoxy. His solution to the Panther problem emerged from experience. Sherman tanks couldn't win frontal duels. Everyone knew it. German crews knew it. American crews knew it. But frontal duels were optional. Abrams made them rare. What his opponents didn't realize, fluid defense negated German advantages. Within hours, this doctrine would shatter an elite Panzer brigade. The American approach abandoned static positions. Abrams organized his battalion into mobile teams. Each team combined 3 to 4 Shermans with artillery support. Teams occupied positions briefly. They fired. They relocated. German gunners never acquired stable targets. Fire and maneuver worked because Shermans moved faster than Panthers. American tanks reached operational positions in minutes. Panthers required careful positioning. Their commanders preferred hull-down defensive stances. Abrams exploited this preference. He forced Germans to advance continuously. Advancing armor was vulnerable armor. The system required exceptional crew training. Sherman commanders needed initiative. They made tactical decisions without waiting for orders. German doctrine, centralized control. Panther, commanders waited for instructions. This created decision speed gaps. Abrams weaponized those gaps. Captain Howard Peckham, 32, from Chicago, led one mobile team. His 4 Shermans operated as hunters. They identified German formations. They struck flanks. They disappeared before Panthers could respond. Peckham's team destroyed 6 Panthers in 3 days without losses. How did outmatched tanks consistently win? Training intensity made the difference. 4th Armored Division's crews trained 12 hours daily for 6 months before deployment. They practiced gunnery until muscle memory replaced thought. Loader to gunner to commander became a single reflex. American crews fired 5 rounds per minute. German crews fired 3. Rate of fire mattered more than armor penetration at combat ranges. Panthers rarely fought at maximum range. Fog, terrain, and buildings restricted engagement distances to 600 yards or less. At 600 yards, Sherman's 76mm guns penetrated Panther side and rear armor. Abrams ensured his crews always shot from those angles. The tactical approach had mathematical elegance. German doctrine concentrated force. American doctrine dispersed it. Concentration created target-rich environments for American gunners. Dispersal created target-poor environments for German gunners. Staff Sergeant Walter Morrison, 27, from Seattle, explained it simply. They bunch up, we spread out. Their gunners got 10 targets, our gunners got 50. The numbers confirmed Morrison's analysis. Dispersed formations reduced casualties by 60% while maintaining firepower. Artillery integration multiplied effectiveness. American forward observers accompanied tank teams. They called fire missions within minutes. German formations crossing open ground became artillery targets before reaching American tanks. Panthers that survived artillery arrived disorganized. Disorganized armor died quickly. Major Albin Erzik, 27, from Minnesota, commanded the battalion's fire support coordination. He positioned 105mm howitzer batteries to cover every approach. German tanks couldn't concentrate without entering pre-registered kill zones. This forced them to attack piecemeal. Piecemeal attacks failed. The defensive system had layers. Outpost Shermans made contact. They engaged briefly. They fell back to secondary positions. Germans advanced into prepared ambushes. Each layer inflicted casualties. Each withdrawal drew Germans deeper into American fire sacks. Psychological factors amplified tactical advantages. Panther crews expected easy victories. Their previous combat experiences supported this expectation. When Shermans destroyed Panthers consistently, German confidence eroded. Crews became cautious. Caution slowed attacks. Slow attacks became killing opportunities. Private Joseph Quapich, 24, from Pittsburgh, served as an ammunition carrier. He watched German prisoners after the first day's fighting. They looked confused, like the world, stopped making sense. They kept asking how many tanks we had. We told them 80. They didn't believe it. German intelligence had failed catastrophically. Von Manteuffel believed he faced a weak screening force. His staff estimated 30 to 40 American tanks. Actual strength was 80 Shermans plus 24 tank destroyers. This intelligence failure shaped German tactics. They committed forces piecemeal. Each commitment met stronger resistance than anticipated. While Germans advanced in predictable formations, American crews repositioned through prepared routes. Nobody connected the patterns until German tank strength collapsed. Communication systems favored Americans. Every Sherman had a radio. Commanders coordinated instantly. German Panthers carried radios only in command vehicles. Platoon leaders used flags and hand signals. This worked in rehearsed operations. It failed in fluid combat. Lieutenant James Farisi, 25, from New York, commanded a Sherman platoon. His 4 tanks functioned as a distributed intelligence network. Each tank reported enemy positions. Farisi synthesized the information. His platoon always knew where Germans were. German platoons often didn't know where Americans were. Opposition to Abrams' tactics came from multiple sources. Some officers argued that defensive warfare wasted armor's offensive potential. Brigadier General Herbert Ernest, 46, advocated counterattacking German concentrations directly. We should hit them head-on, show them American armor doesn't retreat. Abrams disagreed. Head-on attacks trade tanks for nothing. We kill them from unexpected angles. That's not retreat. That's geometry. The debate occurred during a commander's meeting on September 19th. Ernest presented casualty projections. Frontal assaults would cost 40% casualties, but would halt German advances immediately. Abrams' method would cost 15% casualties, but would require 4 days to defeat the German attack. Patton settled the argument. Abrams kills more Germans per hour than anyone in Third Army. He'll keep doing it his way. Could traditional tactics match Abrams's results? Combat data said no. Traditional defensive doctrine positioned tanks in static lines. Enemy armor approached. Both sides exchanged fire until one side broke. This favored superior German guns and armor. Abrams eliminated static exchanges. His tanks never stayed stationary long enough for German gunners to establish firing solutions. Technical objections came from maintenance officers. Constant movement stressed Sherman transmissions. Engines required more frequent servicing. Fuel consumption doubled compared to static defense. Major Robert Howes, 39, the division's maintenance chief, warned that operational readiness would collapse within a week. Abrams accepted the risk. Dead tanks need no maintenance. Living tanks need everything. We'll handle it. Maintenance crews worked 18-hour shifts. They performed repairs at night. Tanks that broke down received priority servicing. The battalion maintained 85% operational readiness throughout the battle. German readiness fell below 60% by day 3. Supply logistics supported the operational tempo. Ammunition trucks followed tank teams. Crews reloaded without returning to rear areas. This eliminated the vulnerability window when tanks moved to supply points. German doctrine required Panthers to withdraw for resupply. This created predictable patterns. American tank destroyers ambushed Panthers on supply runs. Sergeant First Class Frank Cochran, 31, from Denver, coordinated ammunition distribution. His trucks carried mixed loads, armor-piercing rounds, high-explosive rounds, and smoke rounds. Tank commanders requested specific mixes. Cochran's team delivered within 30 minutes. German resupply took 4 hours minimum. The tempo exhausted German crews faster than American crews. Constant repositioning required alertness. German tankers couldn't rest. They expected attacks from any direction at any time. Sleep deprivation degraded their performance. Panther crews made mistakes. Mistakes killed them. Did German commanders recognize the pattern? Some did. Others refused to believe. Major Eberhard Thunert commanded a Panther company in 113th Panzer Brigade. His after-action report described American tactics. Enemy tanks appear, fire, vanish. Our return fire hits nothing. We advance. Enemy appears behind us. We cannot maintain formation cohesion. Thunert recommended dispersing German forces to match American dispersal. His superiors rejected this. German doctrine demanded concentration. Von Manteuffel ordered continued massed assaults. Each assault fed more Panthers into Abrams' killing system. The technological disadvantage that seemed insurmountable became irrelevant. Panther superiority required specific conditions: long-range engagements, frontal aspects, static firing positions. Abrams denied all 3 conditions. Combat occurred at medium range. American crews shot sides and rears. Shermans never stopped moving. By September 20th, German tank strength had decreased by 40%. American losses remained under 20%. The kill ratio exceeded 3-to-1 in American favor. This contradicted all previous combat data. Panther units achieved 3-to-1 ratios against Shermans in Normandy. At Arracourt, Shermans achieved 3-to-1 against Panthers. Weather patterns aided American operations. Morning fog reduced visibility. German attacks lost coordination in fog. By mid-morning, fog cleared. American air support arrived. P-47s strafed German positions. Panthers couldn't concentrate in daylight without attracting airstrikes. This forced German attacks into predictable time windows. Captain William Dwight, 33, from Boston, flew forward air control missions. He coordinated fighter-bomber strikes with ground operations. When Abrams teams fixed German positions, Dwight called in airstrikes. Panthers caught in the open burned under rocket and bomb attacks. German survivors retreated. American armor pursued. The solution's effectiveness cascaded. Each successful engagement increased American confidence while reducing German morale. Confident crews performed better. Demoralized crews performed worse. The performance gap widened daily. September 19, 1944 brought clearer weather. Visibility extended to 2,000 yards by 0800 hours. Von Manteuffel launched his main assault with 50 Panthers from 113th Panzer Brigade. German planners had studied the previous day's failures. They modified tactics accordingly. The new approach concentrated armor on a 600-yard frontage. 50 Panthers would smash through in a single overwhelming surge. Supporting infantry would follow the breach. Once through American lines, Panthers would encircle 4th Armored's positions from behind. German reconnaissance identified Abrams' position at Arracourt. Artillery preparation began at 08:15 hours. Shells hammered American positions for 20 minutes. The barrage forced Sherman crews into cover. When artillery ceased, Panthers advanced under smoke cover. Captain James Leach watched the German formation emerge from smoke. 50 tanks in 5 waves of 10. The sight was magnificent and terrifying. Each wave maintained precise intervals. German training emphasized formation discipline. This discipline made them predictable. The first wave crossed the line of departure at 08:42 hours. Leach's Sherman team held fire. Abrams' orders were explicit. Let them commit, then hit the flanks. Could such restraint work against overwhelming force? The next hours would answer. 6 Sherman teams occupied positions along the ridgeline south of Arracourt. Each team was a 4-tank unit. 24 Shermans against 50 Panthers. The numbers seemed impossible, but numbers weren't everything. The German first wave advanced to within 800 yards. Sherman teams opened fire simultaneously. 24 guns firing at once created a wall of steel. 3 Panthers exploded immediately. 4 more suffered track damage. The remaining 3 continued forward. Second wave Panthers accelerated to support the first wave. This violated Abrams' expectations. German doctrine called for waves to advance sequentially, not simultaneously. The compressed formation created target density. American tank destroyers engaged from concealed positions 600 yards behind the Sherman line. M18 Hellcats had relocated during the artillery barrage. German intelligence still placed them 2 kilometers south. The surprise was total. 8 Panthers burned within 3 minutes. German formation cohesion collapsed. Individual tank commanders made independent decisions. Some pressed forward. Some sought cover. Some retreated. The unified assault became scattered skirmishing. Lieutenant Robert Eddy, 28, from St. Louis, commanded the Northern Sherman team. His tanks maneuvered to the German formation's right flank. Eddy's gunners engaged Panther side armor at 600 yards. Side shots required less penetrating power. Sherman's 76mm guns were adequate. German forces documented severe losses. 18 Panthers destroyed before reaching American lines. The problem: tactical flexibility had abandoned them. 2 Panthers reached Arracourt's outskirts. Their commanders showed exceptional courage and skill. Sergeant Bill Davidson's Sherman intercepted them. The lead Panther fired first. Its shell struck Davidson's turret. The impact killed the gunner. Davidson grabbed the gun controls. Blood covered the optics. He fired blind. The round missed. Corporal Tom Mitchell, fighting from another Sherman, flanked the Panther. His first shot penetrated the engine compartment. His second shot hit the turret ring. The Panther stopped. Crew members bailed out. The second Panther withdrew before Mitchell could engage. By 0930 hours, the German assault had stalled. 22 Panthers destroyed or immobilized. American losses: 7 Shermans, 2 Hellcats. The kill ratio favored Americans by more than 2 to 1. This contradicted all theoretical predictions. Von Manteuffel ordered tactical withdrawal. His remaining 28 Panthers fell back to defensive positions. The offensive had failed. He needed new approaches. German staff officers analyzed the engagement. They identified American mobility as the critical factor. Panthers couldn't acquire targets before Shermans relocated. They recommended dispersed attack formations. This would reduce target density while maintaining flexibility. Von Manteuffel rejected dispersal. German armor doctrine emphasized concentrated breakthrough. He ordered engineers to improve Panther mobility. Better mobility would let Panthers keep pace with Shermans. This would restore German tactical advantages. Engineers worked through the night of September 19-20. They adjusted track tension. They tuned engines for maximum performance. They reduced ammunition loads to decrease weight. These modifications improved Panther speed by 10%. It wasn't enough. September 20th brought the modified German tactics. Von Manteuffel committed his reserve, 38 Panthers from 2113th Panzer Brigade. These tanks had just arrived from Germany. Crews were fresh. Equipment was pristine. They represented Germany's final armored reserve in the region. In 72 hours, this reserve formation would cease to exist. The dissolution would reshape the Western Front's entire strategic situation. The fresh Panthers attacked at 1400 hours. Their approach differed from previous assaults. Instead of massed formations, they advanced in 6 dispersed groups. Each group contained 6 to 7 tanks. Groups maintained 300-yard separation. This created coordination problems for American defenders. Multiple groups meant multiple threats. Sherman teams couldn't concentrate fire. They engaged the nearest threat. German groups that avoided, engagement continued toward Arracourt. Abrams adapted immediately. He ordered artillery to separate German groups. High explosive shells created barriers of smoke and shrapnel. Panthers couldn't maintain formation cohesion while traversing artillery fire. Groups fragmented further. Fragmented groups became isolated targets. Sherman teams hunted them individually. Each group faced local numerical superiority. The tactical mathematics inverted. Americans achieved concentration through dispersal. Germans achieved isolation through concentration. One German group reached within 400 yards of American positions. Their commander, Hauptmann Franz Weber, 34, saw the tactical disaster unfolding. His 6 Panthers faced 12 Shermans from multiple directions. Weber ordered smoke deployment. His tanks withdrew under cover. They were the only group to escape intact. By 1700 hours, September 20th, the battle ended. 28 Panthers destroyed, 10 damaged and abandoned. German armored strength had decreased by 90% in 48 hours. American losses totaled 19 Shermans and 5 Hellcats. How many more defeats could German armor sustain? None. 5th Panzer Army's offensive capability had died. Abrams' battalion had refined mobile defense into an art form. Crews executed complex maneuvers without explicit orders. They read tactical situations instinctively. Sherman teams functioned as distributed intelligence networks. Every tank commander contributed to collective awareness. This development occurred through repeated combat. Crews learned which positions offered best fields of fire. They memorized routes between positions. They understood how terrain channeled enemy movement. Experience replaced doctrine. German crews lacked this adaptability. They executed trained procedures excellently. When procedures failed, they had no alternatives. Panther commanders waited for orders. Orders came too slowly. By the time Germans decided what to do, Americans had already done it. The technical modifications to Panthers proved counterproductive. Reduced ammunition loads left German tanks unable to sustain firefights. Improved speed stressed mechanical components. 3 Panthers suffered transmission failures during the September 20th attack. Crews abandoned them. American forces captured intact Panthers for evaluation. Captain John Roller's tank destroyer platoon relocated 6 times on September 20th. Each relocation required 15 minutes. German forces never tracked their movements. Hellcats appeared where Germans expected empty terrain. The psychological impact was devastating. Panther crews stopped trusting their intelligence. Staff Sergeant George Dagger's Sherman team developed a specialty, killing command tanks. German command Panthers had distinctive antennas. Dagger's gunners targeted these first. Leaderless platoons became paralyzed. They waited for instructions. None came. American tanks killed them while they waited. The refinement process eliminated American weaknesses systematically. Early engagements revealed communication delays. Abrams authorized tank commanders to use initiative without requesting permission. This decentralization accelerated decision speed. Supply problems emerged on September 20th. Ammunition consumption exceeded projections by 40%. Supply trucks couldn't keep pace with forward units. Sergeant First Class Frank Cochran improvised. He positioned ammunition caches along likely maneuvering routes. Tank crews refilled from caches. This eliminated supply truck vulnerability. Maintenance challenges intensified. Sherman transmissions failed at triple peacetime rates. Major Robert House's maintenance teams couldn't repair everything. House prioritized operational tanks. Damaged Shermans received temporary fixes. Permanent repairs waited until after combat. This pragmatism kept 70% of Shermans operational. German maintenance procedures demanded complete repairs before returning tanks to combat. Panther operational readiness fell to 45%. The maintenance philosophy gap cost Germans more tanks than combat did. Weather remained favorable for American operations. Clear afternoons brought air support. P-47. Thunderbolts destroyed German supply trucks. Panthers ran low on fuel and ammunition. Some crews abandoned operational tanks because they had nothing to shoot. German command structure fragmented. Von Manteuffel lost confidence in 113th Panzer Brigade's commander. He replaced him on September 21st. The new commander had no familiarity with local terrain or American tactics. His first attack failed within 30 minutes. 12 Panthers lost. No American casualties. The learning curve favored Americans overwhelmingly. Each engagement taught American crews more about killing Panthers. German crews learned only that Shermans were more dangerous than expected. Surprise didn't help German tactical development. By September 22nd, von Manteuffel acknowledged failure. 5th Panzer Army had lost offensive capability. He ordered surviving Panthers to defensive positions. The counteroffensive that would restore German control of eastern France had died at Arracourt. What Patton called the most brilliant armored battle of the war had ended. The development and refinement of American mobile defense doctrine had created a replicable template. Other units adopted Abrams methods. German armored superiority, taken for granted since 1940, no longer existed. Captain Howard Peckham detected movement at 0634 hours, September 23. His Sherman team occupied positions 2 kilometers east of Arracourt. Morning fog reduced visibility to 300 yards. Peckham heard diesel engines, German engines, multiple vehicles approaching from the northeast. His radio crackled. All stations, this is Thunderbolt 6. Enemy armor, strength unknown, advancing on axis northeast to southwest. Engage on contact. Peckham's 4 Shermans waited in hull down, positions behind a stone wall. The engines grew louder. Fog swirled. Shapes materialized. Panthers. Peckham counted 8 before visibility closed again. Could his team handle 8 Panthers alone? Standard doctrine said no. But standard doctrine had changed. The lead Panther advanced within 250 yards before Peckham fired. His gunner's first round struck the Panther's turret front. No penetration. The German tank stopped. Its turret rotated. Peckham's gunner fired again. This round hit lower. It penetrated the gun mantelet. The Panther's crew bailed out. 7 Panthers returned fire. High explosive rounds hammered Peckham's position. Stone fragments filled the air. Peckham ordered withdrawal. His 4 Shermans reversed down the reverse slope. German shells struck where they'd been seconds earlier. 200 yards back, Peckham's team redeployed along a hedgerow. The Panthers advanced cautiously. German commanders had learned that aggressive pursuit led to ambushes. They moved in coordinated bounds. One section covered while another moved. But coordination took time. While Panthers repositioned, Peckham's team flanked them. Lieutenant James Farisi's Sherman platoon had moved to the German left. 8 American tanks now engaged 7 Panthers from 2 directions. Farisi's gunners targeted Panther side armor. At 400 yards, side shots were reliable kills. 3 Panthers exploded within 40 seconds. The remaining 4 retreated into fog. American crews held fire. Shooting into fog wasted ammunition. Staff Sergeant Walter Morrison had positioned his Sherman 600 yards south. He watched the German withdrawal route through binoculars. When Panthers emerged from fog, Morrison's team engaged them. 1 more Panther died. 3 escaped. 4 Panthers destroyed. 1 damaged. 0 American losses. The engagement lasted 12 minutes. How many similar engagements could German armor sustain? Dawn brought clearer weather. American reconnaissance aircraft reported German armor concentrating near Coincourt, 6 kilometers northeast of Arracourt. The concentration included approximately 40 Panthers and 30 Panzer IVs. Von Manteuffel had combined surviving tanks from multiple brigades. This composite force represented 5th Panzer Army's last operational armored unit. Lieutenant Colonel Abrams studied the reconnaissance photographs. The German position was strong defensively, but poor offensively. Panthers occupied prepared positions behind earthworks. This eliminated their mobility advantage. Abrams decided to force them out. At 10:30 hours, American artillery began harassing fire. Shells fell randomly across German positions. The bombardment caused minimal damage, but prevented rest. German crews stayed buttoned up. They couldn't cook. They couldn't sleep. The psychological pressure mounted. Under this artillery fire, chaos erupted across multiple sectors. American tank teams probed German positions from 3 directions simultaneously. Captain John Roller's tank destroyers approached from the south. His M18 Hellcats moved fast through wooded terrain. They reached firing positions 800 yards from German lines. Roller's gunners engaged the southernmost Panthers. 2 kills in the first minute. German response was confused. Some Panthers rotated turrets south, others maintained watch on other sectors. No unified command response emerged. The composite force lacked cohesive leadership. Major Albin Irzik led the western assault. His Sherman company advanced in dispersed formation. German observers couldn't estimate force size through the scattered deployment. Irzik wanted Germans to believe this was the main attack. It wasn't. The main attack came from the north. Abrams personally led 20 Shermans through a river crossing the Germans hadn't covered. The crossing required 40 minutes. Germans didn't detect it. Abrams' force emerged 1,000 yards behind German positions at 1247 hours. Panthers designed for frontal combat faced threats from three sides. Their rear armor measured 40 millimeters thick. Sherman guns penetrated easily. Von Manteuffel's composite force faced catastrophic tactical encirclement. German commanders recognized the trap. They ordered general withdrawal. But withdrawal under fire from multiple directions became a rout. Panthers fled individually rather than in organized units. Each isolated tank became a target. Lieutenant Robert Eddy's Sherman team intercepted 3 Panthers retreating north. Eddy's gunners destroyed 2. The 3rd Panther surrendered. Its commander waved a white flag. American tankers had never seen a Panther surrender before. The psychological collapse was complete. By 14:30 hours, September 23rd, the engagement ended. 17 Panthers destroyed, 8 captured intact, 11 Panzer IVs destroyed. American losses: 4 Shermans damaged, 2 destroyed. Casualties: 3 killed, 7 wounded. 5th Panzer Army's armored strength had effectively ceased to exist. Would German command commit more reserves? Night brought German counterattacks. Von Manteuffel scraped together 12 Panthers from maintenance reserves. These tanks had mechanical problems. Crews were exhausted. The attack launched at 21:30 hours anyway. Desperation replaced planning. Sergeant Bill Davidson's Sherman team held night defensive positions near Arracourt. Davidson heard the approaching Panthers. Their engines were distinctive. He radioed for illumination. Artillery fired parachute flares. Artificial daylight flooded the battlefield. Panthers caught in the open tried to retreat. Davidson's team engaged at 600 yards. Night optics favored neither side. Both fired based on muzzle flashes and silhouettes. The chaotic firefight lasted 15 minutes. 5 Panthers destroyed. 2 Shermans damaged. The remaining Germans withdrew. German night attacks violated their own doctrine. Panthers required careful positioning for maximum effectiveness. Night combat eliminated this advantage. The attacks revealed German desperation. They were throwing away tanks rather than accepting defeat. September 24th dawned clear and cold. Von Manteuffel requested permission to withdraw 5th Panzer Army from the Arracourt sector. Supreme Command West denied permission. Hitler had ordered the offensive to continue regardless of casualties. Von Manteuffel would obey. His remaining forces would die trying. At 8:15 hours, German infantry attacked without armor support. 2 companies of Panzer Grenadiers advanced across open ground. They carried Panzerfaust anti-tank rockets. If they couldn't use Panthers to kill Shermans, they'd kill Shermans on foot. American machine guns cut down the first wave. Survivors dove into shell craters. They were pinned 400 yards from American lines. Artillery fire walked across the craters methodically. Few Panzer Grenadiers survived. Captain James Leach watched the slaughter through binoculars. He'd fought Germans for 18 months. They'd always been formidable. This desperate infantry assault seemed like a different army. "They're finished," he told his crew. "They just don't know it yet." During the afternoon of September 24th, scattered fighting erupted. Small German units probed American positions. Each probe failed. Panthers appeared sporadically. American tank destroyers killed them quickly. The piecemeal commitment of forces violated every principle of armored warfare. But German commanders had no alternatives. Captain William Dwight flew forward air control missions throughout September 24th. He coordinated airstrikes on German supply columns. P-47s destroyed fuel trucks, ammunition carriers, and recovery vehicles. Panthers that survived combat were abandoned when fuel ran out. By 1700 hours, von Manteuffel reported to Supreme Command West. 5th Panzer Army had lost combat effectiveness. Of 262 tanks committed to the Arracourt offensive, 28 remained operational. American forces controlled all key terrain. The offensive had failed completely. Supreme Command authorized withdrawal. 5th Panzer Army would retreat 15 kilometers and establish defensive positions. The counteroffensive that would restore German control of Lorraine was dead. Patton's Third Army would continue its advance into Germany. September 25th brought final engagements. German rearguards covered the withdrawal. These units fought skillfully. They were veterans who understood defensive tactics, but they had no chance against American momentum. Staff Sergeant George Dager's Sherman team pursued retreating Germans. His tanks advanced cautiously. Rearguards could still kill careless attackers. Dager spotted a disabled Panther blocking a road. Its crew had abandoned it. American engineers would recover it for technical intelligence. The pursuit continued through September 26th. American forces captured 3 small towns without significant resistance. German forces had withdrawn completely from the Arracourt sector. The battle was over. Abrams' battalion had destroyed or captured 89 Panthers during 10 days of combat. Supporting units accounted for another 68. Total German tank losses in the Arracourt sector: 157 Panthers, 55 Panzer IVs, 38 assault guns. 5th Panzer Army had lost 262 armored vehicles. American losses: 31 Shermans destroyed, 17 tank destroyers destroyed. The kill ratio exceeded 8-1. This contradicted all previous combat data. Sherman tanks, considered inferior to Panthers, had achieved overwhelming superiority through superior tactics, training, and operational tempo. What would this victory mean for the broader war? The implications were strategic. During September 1827, 1944, 4th Armored Division destroyed 262 German tanks while losing 48 American tanks. This represented the most lopsided armored engagement of World War II. American forces achieved an 8.4-1 kill ratio against supposedly superior equipment. The numbers seemed impossible. German Panthers had 120 mm frontal armor versus Sherman's 75 mm. Yet Shermans destroyed Panthers 5 times faster than reverse. Superior tactics had overcome technological disadvantage completely. 5th Panzer Army's defeat triggered immediate strategic consequences. German forces lost their final offensive capability in Lorraine. Patton's Third Army advanced 60 kilometers within 2 weeks. The path to the German border opened, but tactical effects cascaded beyond the immediate battlefield. American armor doctrine changed fundamentally. Pre-Arracourt doctrine emphasized tank versus tank combat as a last resort. American armor was supposed to exploit breakthroughs, not create them. Arracourt proved Sherman units could destroy elite panzer forces through aggressive mobile defense. Within 1 month, training centers across the United States implemented Abrams tactics. New tank crews learned fire and maneuver techniques. Emphasis shifted from armor protection to crew speed and coordination. The Shermans' perceived vulnerability became irrelevant when tanks never remained stationary. German doctrine suffered corresponding damage. Panther superiority had shaped offensive planning since 1943. At Arracourt, Panthers died faster than any previous engagement. German command could no longer assume technological superiority compensated for numerical inferiority. In 6 weeks, the doctrinal shift reshaped the Western Front. German armored units adopted defensive postures permanently. Supreme Command West redistributed surviving panzer forces. Concentrated armored armies like 5th Panzer became impossible to sustain. Germany lacked replacement tanks. Panthers consumed resources that could build 3 Panzer IVs. After Arracourt, Germany prioritized quantity over quality. This resource decision affected the Ardennes offensive in December 1944. German planners wanted to commit 2,000 tanks. Only 410 Panthers were available. The offensive used mainly Panzer IVs and assault guns. These vehicles couldn't achieve breakthrough against prepared American defenses. Arracourt's lessons influenced the Battle of the Bulge's outcome indirectly. Post-war analysis revealed additional implications. American after-action reports documented Arracourt extensively. Tank warfare theorists studied the battle for decades. Israeli armored forces adopted fire and maneuver doctrine partially based on Arracourt's lessons. The 1967 Six-Day War saw Israeli Centurion tanks destroy Soviet-built T-54s using similar mobility-focused tactics. Modern armored warfare doctrine maintains Arracourt's core principles. Static defensive positions remain vulnerable. Mobility and situational awareness trump armor protection. Network-centric warfare evolved from concepts Abrams demonstrated in 1944. Every tank functioning as a sensor within a collective intelligence network traces to 4th Armored Division's methods. Strategic impact extended to post-war military planning. The battle proved that well-trained crews in adequate equipment could defeat elite forces in superior equipment. This influenced Cold War military budgeting. NATO emphasized training and readiness over technological supremacy. Superior equipment mattered, but superior personnel mattered more. What happened to the individuals who fought at Arracourt? Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams received the Distinguished Service Cross for his leadership. He continued commanding armor through Germany. Post-war, he rose to Army Chief of Staff. The M1 Abrams tank, America's current main battle tank, bears his name. He died in 1974, age 59, having reshaped American armored doctrine permanently. Captain James Leach survived the war. He returned to Dallas and operated a hardware store. He never spoke publicly about Arracourt. When asked about the battle in 1967, he said, "We did what needed doing, nothing special." He died in 1982. Staff Sergeant George Dager received a battlefield commission in November 1944. He commanded a platoon through the Rhine crossing. Post-war, he taught armored tactics at Fort Knox. He retired as a major in 1958. He died in 1991, having trained a generation of tank commanders. Captain John Roller's tank destroyer platoon received a Presidential Unit Citation. Roller survived the war and taught engineering at MIT. He published papers on mobile warfare tactics. He died in 2001, age 84. Sergeant Bill Davidson, who lost his gunner at Arracourt, recovered from wounds and returned to Cleveland. He worked as a machinist. He attended 4th Armored Division reunions regularly. He died in 1998. Fellow veterans remembered him as the best loader in the battalion. General von Manteuffel survived the war. He commanded 5th Panzer Army during the Battle of the Bulge, where he applied lessons learned at Arracourt. His forces achieved better results through dispersed tactics rather than massed assaults. Post-war, he served in the West German Bundestag. He died in 1978. His memoir acknowledged Arracourt as the decisive defeat that ended German offensive operations in the West. 4th Armored Division continued operations through May 1945. The division liberated Ohrdruf concentration camp. They captured 80,000 German prisoners. They advanced further east than any other American division. Post-war, the division returned to the United States. It was deactivated in 1946, reactivated in 1947, and continues service today. The battle site near Arracourt remains agricultural land. French farmers work fields where Panthers burned 80 years ago. A small monument marks the engagement. American veterans visited periodically. The last survivor of the tank crews died in 2019. Historical memory of Arracourt faded relative to larger battles. Normandy, Market Garden, and the Bulge dominated public consciousness. But military professionals studied Arracourt intensely. The battle demonstrated that tactics and training could overcome material disadvantage. This lesson shaped post-war military education worldwide. 10 days of combat near an obscure French village rewrote armored warfare doctrine. 80 American tanks destroyed over 250 German tanks. The kill ratio should have been impossible. Superior German technology should have prevailed. It didn't. Human factors, training, leadership, adaptability, proved decisive. The Panther remained a formidable weapon through war's end, but it never again dominated battlefields as German planners expected. Arracourt destroyed the myth of inevitable German armored superiority. That myth's destruction altered the war's strategic calculus. German command could no longer plan offensives, assuming their armor would overwhelm enemy forces through qualitative superiority. Patton called 4th Armored Division the best damn armored division in the world. Arracourt justified that assessment. The battle proved that American armor could not just compete with German armor, but dominate it. This knowledge influenced every subsequent operation. American commanders attacked aggressively. German commanders defended cautiously. The psychological initiative never returned to German forces. The legacy endures through modern military doctrine: fire and maneuver, tempo over protection, crew quality over vehicle quality. Every principle that governed Arracourt remains current. The technology changed. Computers replaced radios, guided missiles replaced rifled guns, but the fundamentals persisted. Sherman crews at Arracourt proved that wars are won by people, not machines. Their victory against superior technology demonstrated timeless truth. Adaptability defeats rigidity, speed defeats armor, and trained crews defeat better equipment. That lesson, learned across 10 September days in eastern France, still shapes how armies fight today.